Noah, the reason why we want to single out Berkshire Hathaway, especially today, is because the amount of companies that Warren Buffett has accumulated, it's basically become sort of a measure of the economy, right?
Right. I mean, the number of companies that fall under the Berkshire umbrella is quite vast these days. There are dozens of them. 70, 80 in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And many of them are very much tied to the U.S. economy. You think about railroad BNSF. If people are buying more stuff, the railroad's probably going to be shipping it. You've got a lot of housing-related businesses. There's a brick company. There's a carpet company. There's a paint company. You have a residential real estate brokerage company. So really, when you take a step back and look at Berkshire in its entirety, it's really has a lot of leverage and a lot of exposure to the U.S. economy.
You know, there was a joke that Buffett acquired Burlington just so he could get his own data research arm, exclusive data research arm, because they do have such a good, the hand on how the economy is doing.
Right.
So how is Berkshire doing then?
Well, we won't know the actual numbers until later today, probably. And but the one thing that you keep hearing when I speak with Berkshire investors is that, you know, this company has a lot of leverage to the U.S. economy. It's not just what happens, you know, in one quarter, because Berkshire investors tend to have longer horizons.
Yes.
But basically the point that they make is that as the U.S. economy improves, Berkshire's businesses should improve as well. And, you know, the bottom line is that Buffett keeps adding businesses. A year ago, at this time, they had just purchased half of Heinz, so that's going to be in the results this year. They bought the biggest electric utility in Nevada last year, so that's going to be in earnings this year. It wasn't in the same period a year ago. So when you take a step back, it's likely that we're going to see some progress.
What about the underperformers in his portfolio?
Well, yeah, that's actually an interesting question. We know that BNSF actually had some problems over the winter. There was a lot of nasty weather, especially on their northern corridor. So in the first quarter, we saw a dip in earnings at BNSF. Not exactly sure what we're going to see there in the second quarter.
And some say, though, that, you know, is Buffett, and clearly he's been betting big on the U.S. economy. He says others should as well. But is he leaving open any kind of vulnerability by being too focused on the U.S. economy?
Well, I mean, that's a fair question, but I mean, he certainly has a lot of conviction about it, and it's worked out for him quite well over the years.
It has worked out quite well, but it leads to the question of whether there's some big international acquisition.
Sure. I mean, that's actually one thing that several investors tell me about is that, you know, his field of things that he can actually buy that are big enough in the U.S. to really move.
They're narrowing.
They're narrowing with Berkshire at its current size. And, you know, the one thing I hear from Berkshire investors is that, you know, if he looked more broadly internationally, he might have more options.
Is anyone putting forth any candidates at all?
Oh, look, there's always speculation about what he's going to buy next, but I don't have any particular insight on that.
All right. No, well, you know, we always like to crunch the numbers, right, and see who potentially could be bought by Warren Buffett. All right, Noah, great to see you.
Thank you.
Noah Buhayar of Bloomberg News.